Hey, everybody. Welcome to TikTok Live. I'm Dr. Tammy. I'm so glad you are here. If you are on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, please try to scoot over to my TikTok, and it's Dr. Tammy Tucker on TikTok because I can't see your comments on the other streaming platforms. So if you want to comment, I call this the Ask Dr. Tammy segment. So if I can't see your comments, I can't answer them. But I do try to go back and answer everything later. So I will find you and I will answer you. So I am doing, oh my gosh, it's December already. Can you believe it? I am doing 24 days till Christmas. Oh my gosh, it is so close. Hope you've done your shopping, whatever you do. I did a video the other night talking about shopping and stress. So go back and watch that in my feed. And I try to, on these Facebook or these TikTok lives, I used to do a Facebook live like every single night for like a year. So that's kind of stuck in my head. But TikTok's sort of the new thing. Everybody's doing TikTok. So anyway, here I am. But yeah, so if you go back and look in the feed, I'm trying to repost these that I do. So if you can't be here or you missed anything, here I am, and you can come back and watch them again and comment, and I'll respond. I have a ton of freebies, handouts. If you want to know more about anything that I do, message me. I just finished a hair loss one and just fascinating stuff. If you are losing hair, you absolutely want that one because I talk about all the causes of it: thyroid, iron, ferritin. So if you want that, absolutely, I can get that to you. Just ask me for that. If you want to know more about menopause or hormone therapy, I have handouts and information on that too. All that's free. So just let me know if you want more information and I can absolutely send that out to you. And yeah, so just ask Dr. Tammy. I mean, where else are you going to get a medical doctor every single night at 7 o'clock? So tell your friends. So anyway, enough of my introduction. So tonight we are doing the Advent, and it's the 25 days of till Christmas. So we're opening each window, but they're the symptoms of menopause because a lot of people don't realize that menopause is more than hot flashes because we have been trained and conditioned to think that if you're not having tremendous hot flashes, then you don't qualify for HRT after we're menopausal. And the ridiculous thing is, doctors are writing prescriptions for 9-year-olds for birth control every single day. And nobody is ever saying that causes cancer or you can't take hormones. Like, it's just nuts. And so, what happens after menopause is our ovaries literally retire. And if you look at a woman on an ultrasound 5 to 10 years after menopause, you cannot even see the ovaries anymore. They literally dry up. And the reason for that is because we're born with all the eggs we're ever going to have in our uterus or in our ovaries. And when we run out of eggs, we run out of ovarian function. Our ovaries literally dry up. And every part of our body dries up: our skin, our muscles, our bladder tone, our brains. So all that stuff becomes brain fog, memory problems, not sleeping, heart disease, heart attacks, dementia. I mean, it's this endless broken bones, incontinence. Anything that you see in a nursing home is a reflection of hormone decline. And men also lose their hormones, their testosterone, their sex steroid hormones, we call them. But women, we have no ovaries. Men have parts still. We have no ovaries. And we do have adrenal function that can maintain us to some degree. But I will tell you that as a 55-year-old female, if I were to skip taking my hormones, which my family would kill me if I skipped them for a week. But I promise you, if I skipped them for a week and you checked my levels, I would be at zero, absolute zero. And I cannot imagine living life like that. And at 55, I feel amazing. I don't hurt anywhere. I have lots of energy. I sleep great. Everything is wonderful. So I want that for every woman, and that is my passion. And so I always just try to get that information out there that you've been lied to. And if you've been told that hormones cause cancer, or you've asked a doctor to check your hormones and they've told you that that's not necessary, that is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So you have to be your own advocate. You have to do your research. You have to get past the first page on Google, because that's where you'll see all the information that's going to scare you to death, because Big Pharma wants that. They want you on sleeping pills. They want you on antidepressants. And the statistics are ridiculous. How many women after menopause are on antidepressants, sleeping pills, anti-anxiety meds, joint pain, and they're on, one of the craziest things is frozen shoulder. How many people know that frozen shoulder is actually a symptom of menopause? All the weird stuff like wine sensitivity. Like, you used to be able to drink wine and now you can't. Weight gain, you don't do anything different and now you can't get rid of the weight. It just comes on and comes on. And my patients gain anywhere from 5 to 15 pounds a year. It's absolutely crazy. And so if I get a woman 5 to 10 years out from menopause, like, I mean, that can be 25, 30, even more pounds, and they're not doing anything different. And the problem is, once you start gaining that weight, it is really hard to get it off, especially if you don't have your ovarian hormones anymore. And one of the things I always say, if you follow me regularly, you've heard me say this a million times. If you didn't have a thyroid, would they tell you that you couldn't take thyroid hormone because it causes cancer? That's absolutely ridiculous. And if you don't have ovaries, why aren't they offering you ovarian hormones? But yet they don't. And the narrative is absolutely just crazy. And that study done in 2002 that scared everybody has been totally blown out of the water, but it's stuck. It's still stuck after all this time. So my passion is to tell women that you do not have to live like that, and you do not have to be gaslighted. And doctors, unfortunately, get really stuck in this box. I'm a medical doctor. I get it. I was trained alongside all these other guys, that like were just stuck with what the drug reps told them. And some of those doctors made $500,000 a year besides their day job, just going around to fancy dinners and trying to spew this crap to other doctors. So, I mean, if you've ever worked in the pharmaceutical industry, you know what I'm saying is true. And so it's a very, very broken system. And, I write prescriptions every day, right? Even hormones, right? But I'm not saying that if you are sick or in pain that you don't need something, but there's really not a whole lot for chronic issues, and ovarian failure is a chronic issue. I just had somebody message me today, and it's pretty much every day, every single day, somebody messages me and says, well, I got through menopause just fine. So what does that even mean? I got through menopause just fine. Okay, so I want to walk it back a little bit. The definition of menopause is 1 year without having a period. That's it. That's the definition of menopause. Okay, so what's the big deal? The big deal is that it doesn't matter if you're not having periods anymore. That's one of my biggest gripes, is that doctors who have a patient who has a hormone imbalance, estrogen dominance, they're bleeding like a stuck pig. I mean, they're having these heavy, heavy periods, and they'll take the uterus out. That's not a solution. It doesn't fix the hormone issues. Yeah, they're not bleeding anymore, but it didn't fix the hormone issues. And so menopause, a year without periods, means absolutely nothing. What we're dealing with is ovarian failure, because you don't have any eggs anymore and you don't have the hormone feedback. So take menopause out of the equation. We're talking about women who've had a hysterectomy and removed the ovaries, or a woman over the age of 50 who doesn't have ovarian function anymore. She is an ovarian failure. Let's call it what it is. And I've coined the term hormone depletion syndrome. So that's what it is. So if you want to call, premenstrual disorder something, let's call it hormone depletion syndrome, because that's what we're dealing with. And it is everything to do with age. And so many women will say, I'm just getting older. That is crap, because just getting older is not having that hormone influence anymore. And there is something that you can do about it. So anyway, that's my rant. Hope I didn't lose too many people while I was ranting, but if I can just get that message in, when I have new patients in the office, I'm like constantly like, I'll hit them with that first, because if they don't listen to anything else I say, at least maybe I've had them appreciate what we are dealing with here. And there are absolutely safe options. So if you stay to the end, I'm going to talk about some of those options too. But I promised you on the advent calendar of menopause, night number 2 or day 2 before our 25 days to Christmas is sleep. So sleep is a huge challenge. So if you are struggling with sleep, especially perimenopause or menopause, it is debilitating. You need your sleep to reset your metabolism. So if you're gaining weight, that's a big part of it, especially during perimenopause when your progesterone drops out. And progesterone and estrogen balance each other out. So when you lose progesterone in perimenopause, and then you go into ovarian failure in menopause and after, because it's forever, then you're not sleeping. Progesterone means progestation, and gestation means pregnancy. So when you're pregnant, your progesterone levels are very high. If you've ever had a baby, you know how tired you were when you were like second trimester. I mean, I remember I would literally come home and go straight to bed after, working. Hadn't even worked that hard. What do I do? Write scripts all day and see patients. And I would just come home and go to bed, and I would wake up the next morning. And so my progesterone levels at that time were probably 200. My progesterone levels right now, again, if we went a week and I didn't take my hormones, would probably be 0. Less than, that little less than sign, we learned in math, less than 5, like nothing. And so you can imagine, if you don't have your main sleep hormone, which is progesterone, you're not going to sleep. So, and progesterone also keeps you asleep. And one of the things that women really struggle with is staying asleep. And that's when that kicks in perimenopause. I had a patient the other day, and she was 72, and she went through menopause at 52. And she said she had not slept a full night in 20 years. And after starting hormone therapy, she said she slept for the first night in 22 years or 20 years. And she had not had a hot flash since. And it's debilitating for women. And, she was just like so grateful. And she said, in fact, she got a phone call, and it was like earlier in the morning. It was like 7 a.m. or something like that. And she was still asleep. And it kind of startled her, because she just wasn't used to sleeping that heavy. So it was just a shocker to her that she was groggy when the phone went off. So it is so powerful. And I get that all the time. I have women who say, is it too late for me? Am I too old? Because that's part of the narrative too, that you can't take hormones if you're 10 or 15 years out. That is a total lie. And you need it all the more. But the reason that women get breast cancer is because they haven't had the protective benefit for all those years. Because who gets breast cancer? I mean, if that's the conversation, right? Is it a 30-year-old female who has super high estrogen levels, or is it a menopausal female who has none? So if it were true that estrogen caused breast cancer, then why aren't 30-year-olds getting breast cancer? And why are women who have no hormones getting breast cancer? So please, it's just common sense. You have to wake up and ask the question. So one of the things that we see with sleep also is there's a hormone called melatonin, And melatonin is your sleep hormone and another sleep hormone besides progesterone. And so that declines usually in perimenopause as well, because it's all a feedback loop that happens with all your hormones. So you can't just pick out one hormone and say, important hormone, or this hormone does this, or this hormone does that. It is an orchestra of all the instruments, of all the hormones. So estrogen, melatonin, progesterone, and then all your brain chemicals, your serotonins, your GABAs, all those as well. So as melatonin starts to decrease, you don't sleep well. So you need the balance of everything. So I would love to say, hey, just take some estrogen, you'll be fine. It's much more complicated than that. And that's why you have to really work with people who know what they're doing. Because I'll tell you, we don't get training in med school. Everything that I learned, I had to learn on my own because I had problems, because I was sick, because I couldn't take synthetic hormones, because I had estrogen dominance, because I had PCOS, endometriosis, infertility. I had all of the things. And so really have to get outside the box to get any sort of training on, I want to say menopause. That's just a year without period. What you at the box to get training on is ovarian failure and hormone depletion syndrome. It's not being taught at all. And there are some OBGYNs who will write HRT, which would be, a patch or a progesterone pill, which is fine. But your ovaries make so many other hormones, and women need testosterone. It is so critical. So guys make a lot of testosterone, I get it. But in a woman, we actually make more testosterone than estrogen. And I know that is like a mind blower. And I hope I do blow your mind with the things I say. And I hope you go look it up and make sure that that is the truth, because don't take my word for it. But there is just so much to this, more than doctors know or they're sharing. And so it's so much easier when they have to see 60 patients a day just to write a prescription for something. So you have to make sure that you are your own advocate and understand what's going on. Okay, so all these hormones are working together, insulin, all the things. There's another hormone called DDAVP, and that hormone actually keeps you from feeling the need to urinate in the night. So that's another issue that we run into with sleep, is because you wake up because you have to urinate during the night. And progesterone also regulates DDAVP, and so does estrogen. So I'm sorry, I have to tell you that you didn't have a thyroid and you had to take thyroid meds, it is the very same thing not having ovaries, because whether you've had them removed or they die after menopause, you have to have ovarian hormones. There's just no way around it. And if you want to suffer and you want to crumble and you want to age and dry up, that's absolutely your choice. But all this stuff about it's going to kill you is crazy. The study in 2002 came out and they lied. And they said that 1 in 4 women are going to get breast cancer and die if they take HRT. 60% of women before that study were on HRT. A year later, 30%. It dropped down to half. And now less than 5% of women over the age of 50 are on HRT. But how many girls as young years old are on birth control? And so it's just clown world. I'm telling you. I mean, every day it's just like I can't even. And I have patients who have been with me for years on HRT that come in and they're scared. And I'm like, okay, we have to, walk this back. And I have to draw the pictures. I love to draw pictures and help people understand you have no ovaries. You need hormones. Just like if you had no thyroid, you need hormones. So that is my mission. That is my passion. So if you don't have progesterone, you're not sleeping. If you don't have melatonin, you're not sleeping. And there's lots of things and tips and tricks that you can do. You can increase your melatonin by having a really dark room, because that's how you stimulate melatonin. So that's one thing. And you can also stimulate melatonin by not having electronics in your room. And that is really hard, I know, because we want our cell phone, right? college and it's like, oh, I gotta keep my phone there in case something happens. But what did we do before that? I know growing up, we had those phones on the wall in the kitchen with the spirally cords, that you had to like stretch and they were all twisted up that went all the way from like the kitchen into the living room. And like nobody ever called in the middle of the night unless it was an absolute emergency. So, you have those emergency contacts. You can do that thing where you can actually, those are the people that can ring through and put it on the other side of your room. I need to take my own advice, but but sitting there on Facebook, I mean, I really try to wind down at night. I play my guitar, read my Bible, do my gratitude journal, and just really compress a little bit and not sit on Facebook, not sit on social media, not get all wrapped up. Don't check emails. Give yourself at least an hour to regulate down. No TV. Some people say they sleep better with TV. There's really no data to bear that out. Maybe it's a habit, but that is activating your brain. Light in the room is activating your brain. You can read something boring, make you go to sleep faster, but there's so many things that you can do to stimulate that melatonin. Okay, let's talk about estrogen. Estrogen is very important to keep the brain lubricated and the blood vessels working. So you have blood flow to that pineal gland, which produces your melatonin. So estrogen is important. It's also the same thing that keeps your cognition, keeps you from having brain fog and dementia. And so estrogen helps sleep by doing that, by keeping it fresh, keeping that vascularity, keeping that endothelium in the blood vessels. And basically, it also has functions with keeping you asleep as well. So estrogen balance each other. So again, it's about that orchestra. So you can't just have progesterone for sleep without estrogen, and you can't have estrogen without progesterone because your ovaries are not making that anymore. So, I'd be a little remiss to not talk about the adrenal glands because your adrenal glands actually do make some of what we call your sex steroid hormones or your ovarian hormones. And so if your adrenal glands are healthy, which almost nobody has healthy adrenal glands, especially with all the chemicals, everything that's in our environment, but we do have a little bit of a back. So that's good. Oh, questions. Yay. I love questions. Which doctor can give the prescription to balance this hormone? So really what you want to work with is you want to work with someone who understands hormones. And the safest route, and when I say safe, I'm not talking about the safety of estrogen and breast cancer. I'm talking about the way your body processes things. And so your liver is your main hormone processor. In fact, I call your liver an endocrine gland because it takes cholesterol, which is the pro hormone. I know that's a shocker. And it turns into estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. So it's really important that you have somebody who understands all of those hormones because a lot of the GYNs or people who are just supply and demand trying to keep up with people wanting hormones don't understand that. And they will put you on synthetic hormones. So it's not good either. It's the difference between a strawberry and a strawberry candy, like the red cellophane, the little green cellophane top, completely differently chemically. If you eat a strawberry, your body's going to respond a certain way. If you eat a strawberry candy, your body's going to respond to that completely different. So it is the same way with what we call synthetic hormones and what we call bioidentical hormones. Bioidentical just means it's the same as what your body, your ovaries make, the same chemical structure. Someone didn't take it and tweak it and put a patent on it and then have a pretty little drug rep go to the doctor and try to sell them to write for this, right? So how do you get that? If you do it in a topical form, that is the safest. And when I say safe, I'm not talking about breast cancer risk. I'm talking about it goes into the bloodstream without going through the liver because as we age, our livers don't work as well. And so we don't process as well. So you want your hormones to be so a topical route, whether that's a patch or a cream, or even we do troches under the tongue sometimes because it goes right into the bloodstream. So you want somebody who knows what they're doing and you can do your research and, you can find people, but don't expect to go OBGYN and have them know anything. And I always say, I'm not a feminist by any means, but a man cannot possibly understand what it feels like to be in our heads with our hormone issues and the fluctuations that happen with estrogen and serotonin, even as young as 9 years old, and then to live without them after 55, and babies and menstrual cycles. A man just can't understand that. And even if they're trying to get on the bandwagon and prescribing hormones, I just don't think they understand the nuances. So I think it's very important that you find someone who really truly gets it. And I'm not saying not to go to a male doctor, because there are lots of them who do that. But I do think it's really important to find somebody who understands. That's all I can say about that. But anyway, if you're having problems, find a doctor who will test your hormones or who knows bioidentical hormones and knows this safe, and that they also are an orchestra. There's multiple hormones. There's testosterone, there's estrogen, there's progesterone, there's all the metabolites, there's pregnenolone. So you don't have to know all that, but you have to make sure that you know that the person who's helping you knows that. So I am super excited that I have launched this program where you can get a test mailed right to your home, and you can show them, you can actually get your levels done. It's a saliva test, and you do it at home, and you send it in. We get the results. We put you on the phone with a hormone expert, because there's only one of me, and I have to have people who can convey the results and stuff that by my protocols, and can help you get on bioidentical hormones. And yes, Barbara, insurance should cover it. And I'm so sorry that it doesn't, but the insurance system is very broken. I call it commercial medicine. It's just gross. They don't want you better, and they don't want you to know about bioidenticals, honestly, because they want you to be on Prozac and Effexor and Xanax, sleeping pills. They don't care about you. So you have to get outside the box, and you have to realize, when people come to me and, it's an investment in their health, say, how much are you paying every month in insurance? And some people pay up to $1,500 a month. And yeah, some of that goes to your employer, so you don't really notice, and it comes out of your check. But that is a lot of money. And what do you get for that? You don't get hormones. You don't get something that's going to make you feel better. You get a pill that's going to numb you out. You get a pill that's going to knock you out. You're not going to feel better. And I have women all the time, they're walking around like zombies. They're absolutely miserable. And it's just such a game changer when they can actually get. And then once we see what your levels are, we individualize your treatment, your care. Sorry, I know cat's talking to me. I usually try to shut the door, but here, say hi. But we individualize your treatment so that it's for you. And that is the most important thing. Fits all. You can't just slap a patch on somebody and expect that to work. You can't just put them on progesterone pills and expect that to work. So I've spent the last almost 25 years in clinical practice, and we've added it up almost 30,000 patients to create my protocols to help you. I'm just so passionate. I love it. So yeah, link in bio. It's hormonebliss.com. So you can go there and order a kit. And oh my gosh, if you're interested, do it tonight. And I'm not trying to push you or rush you, but if you've thought it's your hormones and you want to get them checked, it are usually $299, but for the Cyber Monday, it's $97. And so tomorrow it goes back up, and we're going to run some Christmas specials. So we've got those in the works, and New Year's, but it's probably going to be till maybe New Year's. So if you want to do it, why wait? Why feel terrible through the holidays when you can get a handle on your hormones now? So yeah, so link in bio, and it's hormonebliss.com. I love the name. I kind of came up with that because it's like, you don't need to suffer, literally live in bliss. I feel like every day, unless I forget my hormones, and you can ask my family what that looks like. But every day that I have my hormones, I feel like my body's in bliss. Yes, I still have stress. Yes, I still have my business. And yes, I have so much going on, but I feel like the balance, everything. And we always have stress, even when we're in our 30s. But I feel like my body would not be able to handle the stress that it does without help. So anyway, so kind of wrap up sleep. Sleep is everything. Sleep is where you reset your metabolism. Sleep is, they say that being sleepy is more dangerous than driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. I literally fell asleep in my residency program behind the wheel and rear-ended a semi at a stop. It was just like I remember closing my eyes. I'd been awake for 3 days, just little, cat naps in between, but running to codes and doing admissions and stuff. And so I know what it is that exhausted, and I was very, very dangerous, and I should not have been behind the wheel. I don't know nowadays if they make medical students, sleep more, but um, okay. Kimberly says, do you believe there isn't enough protection with topical progesterone? There's so many, ovarian hormones. There's estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. There is a lot of protection just from progesterone. And so a lot of people do that, and that's fine. Estrogen for the endothelium in your blood vessels. If you want to keep your brain active, not have that brain fog, topical progesterone is great, but there's more to it. So you really want to I love to correlate the labs. So I'm all about labs. There's a lot of doctors out there who say you don't need labs. It's nuts. Is the Quest lab book, the order book for laboratory or LabCorp? It's like a phone book. Remember phone books. Literally thousands of labs in there. Why would we have estrogen and progesterone and testosterone and labs if you don't need to check them? And so, yeah, I understand a lot of doctors say, well, after menopause, you don't have any, right? So why check them? I check them to have a baseline, and then I check them to correlate symptoms to make sure that people are feeling better. So, and that's what our program does. Our protocols are based on working with people one-to-one and being available to them to help them make those adjustments. So yeah, you can just go buy progesterone cream over the counter. And the problem is that the dosages usually aren't what menopausal women need. Now, if you're perimenopausal and you're trying to regulate estrogen dominance, that might be enough. But if you're menopausal, you really need those higher doses. And so I love topical creams. That's pretty much what our whole program is based on, but you have to get enough. We also have testosterone. And so women desperately need that, have always desperately needed it. I don't know why doctors think that women don't have testosterone, because we do. And we need it when we don't have ovaries. So you need it to make muscle, you need it to help your brain, you need it to help all of your tissues and it's everything. Super, super important. I'll take a couple more questions. I know we're about to wrap up here. Kimberly says, I'm on estrogen patch and medroxy, but I bloated. Mouth made me so drowsy. Progesterone, if you get too much, can make you drowsy. Estrogen patch is a good source, but again, you probably need some testosterone, which is wonderful because that's one of the main things our program does. So even if you're on those, testosterone could really help with your energy levels and with the fatigue. So maybe something to check out. At least let us check your levels and see what's going on. But yeah, the patch is great. The progesterone capsules are useful. I actually do take oral progesterone, so I take 200 at bedtime, and I do the troches under the tongue. And I also do pregnenolone cream, and then I do estrogen topical skin cream for the cosmetic stuff. But topical creams, I did those for years too. And if they're done right, you can get the dosage right. It is a balancing act. And if you want a free copy of my book, Balancing Act, I have the second edition out. So just message me and I'll send you a link to the free ebook. And I talk about all those things like how to get it right with topical creams, and love to help you. So I know I went 4 minutes over, but I love your question. Thank you. And if you didn't get your question answered tonight, I'm here every night at 7 o'clock, and I'll keep doing this as long as people keep showing up. Even Christmas Eve, I'll probably be here if y'all are bored, and we'll be here at 7 o'clock every night. So I love you all very much, and I just want you to have the best, blessed life ever, and want you to feel good. Angela, thank you. You're welcome. I'm pleased to be here. So just, I thank you guys for being here. I know you could have been anywhere else. So thanks for staying with me. Please tell your friends. And, we can get outside the box a little bit too, because there's a lot that's related to hormones that um, I'm happy to help with. Uh, Give every example of monthly cost. The testing, like I say, is $97 right now. Our prices are everything. So usually what we do is have you visit with a coach because we can work with people. We can even do HSA if you have that, and we do care credit and all. But I mean, it's less than $200 a month. So, and the pricing, you'll have to talk with one of the coaches on that. But I mean, it's a beautiful thing when you can feel better. If you come see me in my office, or if you find someone who does bioidenticals and insurance doesn't, what do you pay in insurance a month, right? Like 500 bucks, 1,000 bucks, and you get nothing. So we have really tried to make it super affordable. But one of the things that we do is we're available to you, and we do the balance act, right? We correct it, we course correct it, we help you. And then I also have tons of educational content if you're interested in that. So you can learn all about what you're going through and not crazy. So we have so many aspects to the program. We have supplements. We do so many things to get your metabolism back on track. If you need to lose weight, we also have protocols. If you're spending money on supplements every month, and I love supplements, we make individualized recommendations for that. We can even do more testing if you need your thyroid checked. So we are pretty much all encompassing, and we're just there to serve. And like I say, my protocols, I've been so prolific. I've written so much content, so many books. I think I have like just on hormone stuff alone. I've been talking about what I did like in my master's program and stuff. So I have so much content, freebies, material, anything you want. I can send you material like right out of the gate. So you just let me know. But anyway, to bounce. I love you all very much. And I'll see you here tomorrow night if you are free and want to come hang out.